What's up guys, back in today with another reaction to the Berserk manga, this time with volume 41, the first couple chapters. We'll just recap quickly what we went through last time. Of course we had the Casca stuff, which was absolutely fantastic, but then we dropped in on how Griffith and his army's doing, taking on these giants, these Jotun, which I think is the translation to giant, isn't it? Again, some really awesome artwork, especially like this little suit of armor for this giant, but again, not nearly as interesting as the Casca stuff in my opinion. Had this Hydra, Snake Hydra here as well, which is cool, but all the comments said the same thing, didn't they? It was just like, fuck this. No one wants to see Griffith doing well, do they? But yeah, we'll have a little look at, again, I don't think we really need to go over too much of this, not too much important here. But yeah, let's, and the likes seem a little crazy. But yeah, here's the next cover artwork in that same style that they've been doing recently, which I'm not the biggest fan of. It still looks good, don't get me wrong. I think that's mainly because the character designs are pretty awesome generally. It's pretty hard to fuck them up. Revert back to 2016, 17, 18 Berserk anime. I don't think they really fucked up the designs, but Guts, especially in some segments, looks like absolute crap. Again, I haven't actually watched it, I've just seen plenty of clips, but yeah, it's in that I prefer the kind of I think someone said this is like got like some CGI or something in there. I don't really know, but I'm more of a fan of the hand drawn kind of usual cover artworks we had up until this point. I'm not sure we've had one for a cover, have we? We've definitely seen similar artworks just below covers, but this might be the first time we've had one for a cover. I think from afar it doesn't look bad, but then you look at it and you're like, Casca looks a little soft, if that makes sense. She looks like a doll, which I guess could be quite fitting considering the last arc, the last volume. But just to take away from the artwork a bit, we've actually got the Moonlight Kid with her right here, who did pop up in her memories. I also want to check how long we got left. Okay, we got less than 20 chapters now. Crap. So after today we'll have, what we'll be on, 360, we'll have 16 chapters left. Wow. Wow, man. And it's been a long and pretty fucking awesome journey. Again, I'm not a manga reader. I read this and Nana. I've tried reading other manga, and I read a bit of Umineko, but I haven't read that in ages. Even though it's really good, like I just don't get along too well with manga, so it's amazing that I've came this far. To be honest with you guys, I think again the story's just, the artwork is just so good. It kept me here the whole time. Okay, so we've got a new one of these. It's cool. We got Morda, who I didn't think we had last time. I'll do the Danan one. I'm pretty sure we had her before, but the ruler of Elfhelm's elves, spoken of legend as the Flower Storm Monarch. She can perform the Corridor of Dreams ritual, which is a means of restoring someone's mind. Yep, we definitely had hers before. But was Morda always here? An Elfhelm witch. Her abilities are excellent, but she has an extreme side, as is seen in her casual I thought I said boobs. In her casual attitude, my bad, towards taboos. Unlike her mild-mannered compatriots, Morda has a keen interest in the outside world. Do you reckon there might be like a swap going on? Like Shirka stays here and we take Morda with us for a little bit? I wouldn't like that because I love Shirka to be in the story, but I could get down with a bit of Morda. Guts' party reached their destination on Elf Island, hoping to restore Casca's mind by the way of the ritual use of the Flower Storm Monarch Danan's Corridor of Dreams. Shirka and Farnese dive into a world deep within Casca's psyche and finally awaken her from her nightmare. Then when the time for reunion comes, the sight of Guts makes Casca cry out in repulsion. So are we going to be going back to that moment. I sure love to, because that was quite the cliffhanger. So how many chapters we got? We got 2, 4. We got 9 again, which is again a bit annoying. Is it a bit annoying? So if I do 2 today, I'll be on 59, and it'll be 61, 63, 65, 67, 9, 71, 72, 73, sorry, 75. Okay, so I'll have to do one video with 3 chapters, which will probably be the final 3. None of you guys know any better chapters coming up to do. Again, I record these a couple weeks in advance, but any chapters to do 3 in a row of that would be appreciated. Again, by the time you comment on this, I probably would have already done. Probably might have already finished this volume, so in upcoming volumes, again, that'd be appreciated, so thank you for that. Again, do let me know what you guys think about this new chapter though down in the comment section. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you guys do like, and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up to date. And let's get into the Dawn. I was going to say, where are the artworks? There's no artworks. That's a shame. That was one of my favourite things about starting a new volume, seeing those coloured artworks. That's a shame. Again, we're definitely seeing more and more. I say more and more. We're seeing less and less, aren't we, of artwork? We're seeing the cover art be kind of different style, which is not quite as good. Less artwork, less chapters, less pages per chapter. It's a shame, but again, I mentioned this in my Nana reaction. If you notice, again, side point here, kind of. But Miura, obviously, rest in peace. He had poor health, but you see a lot of manga artists, especially big ones, that do have poor health, and I think that just says something about like the work industry in Japan. I think they just overwork themselves a hell of a lot. Like, people don't realize how much stress can affect your mental and health, like actual healthy well-being, like in your body's well-being. It's kind of crazy. You don't see that. I don't think you quite see that as much in other countries, but in Japan, like, there seems to be, again, like a lot of big manga artists going on hiatus for many years due to illness and such. Again, it might be totally kind of unrelated, but I think there definitely is some correlation between the amount of mangakas, amount of work they put out, how successful it is, and the amount of and their kind of health. And I think the higher it goes up here, the lower it goes on the kind of health side. So it really sucks. I was talking about how, like, Ayazawa, for example, maybe should, because I realised she put out a lot of chapters in a short amount of time. Maybe they should, again, space out the chapters, go on these hiatuses for however long you need, and don't just like work for 6 years, for example, just like banging it out every week, new manga every week. Take your time, because yeah, but again, the industry and such doesn't call for that, does it? It wants the money, and it wants it now while it's popular. So that's a shame. But yeah, we're back with Griffith, it looks like the fucking extravagant, what, dinner room? It looks like the insides of a demon or something, a little bit, like with the rib cage type, stomach type ceiling. All these wings. Are these lotuses? I can't quite tell, but obviously, again, I brought Nana up. It's kind of rebirth of sorts, I think that represents. This is Charlotte's chamber. I recognise that face anywhere on the left. the podgy face. Here is my military report. The band of the Hawk's Lancers have nearly exterminated the ogres, trolls, and other legendary beasts on the plains west of Falconia. Furthermore, the forest and river regions remain untouched and will likely require constant vigilance. The mines to the north are infested with goblins, which must be dealt with swiftly. Regarding the Jotnar in the east, previously our biggest threat, and I'm sure I'm sure each of you is already aware. They were wiped out by the new Royal Army, with our own band of the Hawk at its core. So it's quite funny how Charlotte's came to look. Like, her look's changed quite a bit here, hasn't it? She's still got like the essence of Charlotte, but even she looks more kind of fairy tale like, doesn't she? Looks like a fairy tale princess of sorts. Magnificent. I think it's like what she's sitting on and the whole room in general kind of amplifies that a bit as well. Magnificent. This means recovery of our domain has finally begun. This victory is no more than the first act in the arduous struggle to come. Please understand, the recovery of the domain and reclamation of human living space are one and the same. My bad. Certainly, none of us object. On to the next pending item. Head of Castle Guard and Military Police, Sir Owen, if you would report on the status of our capital security. The citizens of Old Wyndham, the first settlers, established neighbourhoods based largely on their trade guilds from the old capital, where peace and quiet are the norm. Meanwhile, in the neighbourhoods of immigrants from various other regions, wages for many are low and crime is noticeably on the rise. That's dangerous. Would you ever commit a crime in this place? Like, imagine living here. I'm not sure about this, but I'm pretty sure quite a few of these people aren't aware there's demons. If I'm wrong about that, then this goes even more. But if you knew there's demons here and your leader was a demon and all this shit, would you ever commit a crime in this place? Not me. Not fucking, no chance. No chance. That should be deterrent enough, right? Your army that you've got for this place is an army of demons. You should be able to work out what would happen to you if you were a criminal. In addition to public disorder becoming more apparent in the temporary refugee street, and horribly it reads there. Apologies, guys. In addition to the public disorder becoming more apparent in the temporary refugee district, there are many heretical sects even amongst the Holy Sea's adherents. If neglected, these tensions could erupt. We can't afford a heretic conflict within the capital during these troubled times. At this point, even the Kushan are far more reliable. With so many people from different backgrounds suddenly gathered in one place, of course there will be friction. That reminds me a bit of America. A little bit, all these, it's like a melding pot of different kind of backgrounds and people and from all over the place. I think that's what Americans forget about themselves a little bit. Like, I don't really know much about this, to be honest with you. What I'm talking about here is a little bit like I only really learned from Vinland Saga, and even then, it's like I'm basing this on an anime, this opinion. But I'm pretty sure it's like fact that, like I said, America's like a melding pot of all these different places. I think people forget that, like especially like when there was periods of like slavery and such. It's like when you look back at the past, look at how your country was created. Created by a load of people migrating here from all over. Like, come on, just like think for a minute. Surely you guys wouldn't be here about people from all over the world. And even today, when people have these kind of like racist, I say racist, like, again, you guys know I think everybody's racist and sexist, but like extreme racist, like actual kind of like people that just are against people of color or even white people for their own prejudices. Again, it's always complex when I talk about that because, as I say, I think everyone has these kind of thoughts about people of a different race. Again, not always exactly the same, but a lot of the time they're spot on. Like white people, you can expect them to be a certain way, and a lot of the time they are. Black people the same, Mexican people, Irish people. It's just like how people are from certain parts of the world. But again, there very much is that extreme, isn't there? So I'll talk about those people, the extreme people that just stupid at the end of the day. They're just stupid people if they don't realise their own origins. But seeing that, like, I always laughed like that, the whole build a wall and such. Just like, your country came to be from there being no walls to this place. It's like, yeah, that's nuts. But seeing the Hawk, Sir Griffith, like that, if they could even once see the soul ascension ceremony for themselves, They should realise that slight differences in the interpretation of doctrine are insignificant. Certainly, we cannot deny said ritual helps alleviate the people's discontent. Truly, seeing is believing. Yeah, that is the thing, isn't it? If they don't see like the demons and such, which I don't think they have, they see the whole kind of dead people before they get sucked into the what would have been the astral world by it's the what's the place beyond that? The world of idea. Is that where they get sucked to? I kind of forget, to be honest. It's not really mass importance. But we cannot afford to continue neglecting the decline of the city's public order. Are there any immediate countermeasures besides increasing military police presence? I say, like I said, the demons are pretty good at intimidation, so just like stick a demon with the security guards for a couple of weeks, and I think that'll sort everyone out. Make some examples of some people. I sound like a tyrant there, don't I? But fear is a great influence. A lot, like some of you guys won't even know that. A lot of your life has been influenced by fear. Fear of not doing something, or fear of like doing something. Fear of being a criminal, fear of being shunned by your society, and like a lot of subconscious stuff like that. I mean, adding to like, I always think back to when I was really scared of the dark as a kid. Like that influenced me a lot as a kid. I was always like those people that even as an adult say like they go downstairs and they like have to switch the light off really fast and run up the stairs. Like I always used to do that as a kid. Used to turn the lights off, run as fast as I could up the stairs again, jump in bed. But again, I'm an adult now, so it's probably to be expected, but I'm not absolutely fine with the dark. Like I know the time of my life when I became comfortable with like doing stuff I was scared of. Like horror movies. That's probably why I love horror movies so much today, because I was terrified as a kid. I mentioned this a few times. I watched Jeepers Creepers. I remember watching, and I think it got to like the jail scene. Don't want to speak about it too much because the creator of those movies is a horrible person, so I never rewatched them, but I rewatched them, but before I knew about that. I haven't rewatched them in a long time, which is a shame because again, I had such a childhood experience with the first one. I got to the jail scene and I just had to hide behind the sofa, and I was like, I don't think I was crying, but I almost like wet myself and such. It was just terrifying as a kid. And again, knowing what the author was, like, perfectly explains why I was so scared, because he is the monster. He knows how to make monsters because the creator was a monster. Another one, Supernatural. I specifically remember an episode about there being people living in walls, in like the walls of the house they're investigating, and that episode really shut me up. I don't even think it was like very graphic or anything, but just like the implication that there was people living in your walls made me very paranoid as a kid for a fair few weeks. But again, you get over shit like that, and again, it's probably why I'm such a big fan of horror and gore and such nowadays, because overcoming that, like, it does something, doesn't it? Again, it's quite funny when you still see like adults that are scared of the dark. Like I spent a lot. It's gonna sound weird, but I spent a lot of time in the dark during my like teen years, because again, I was somewhat of a delinquent, like going out doing drugs, meeting my friends and so on, and it was always during night time. So I think I've actually got like better night vision than most people. That always helps as well. It will mean adding to the military's burden once again. But what choice is there? The particulars can wait. Next, we have a relief measure for orphans by the state. A proposal to establish an orphanage. What's this? That one is fine. Oh, Charlotte, you lovely person. Again, such a travesty. You had to fall for Griffith. A lovely person, though. That one is fine. Oh. Your Royal Highness, we your subjects all respect your benevolence when it comes to the children. It is most fitting for the future mother of our kingdom. Yeah, I was waiting for the but what? But nothing. Fucking listen. Go on, Griffith. If you're a man, you're gonna say shut up and do what she says right here. And I think he will say that, which is a shame because I don't want him to. I don't like him. But as your humble servant and treasurer, I must say the government does not currently have such funds. Due to our recent war with the Kushan, our domestic economy fell into a depression, and we couldn't recover before the emergence of these current hardships. We simply cannot afford it. It's nice to know that it isn't all kind of... I say it's not. It's nice to know. It's kind of nice to know it isn't all sunshine and rainbows here. But it's also like, again, I'm on the side of the people that live here. Because they're actually good, normal people. It's just the people that run this place, which again is a bit ironic, isn't it? I think this is very much like a saying something about our kind of like world governments and the governed countries, isn't it? That Griffith and such created this, and a lot of countries created from evil, horrible things, but can turn into like a good thing and a good place for people. I'm not sure like what era / kind of people he's talking about here, Mira, but I think it could fit quite a lot of countries and such, perhaps, and governments. Sorry if my video is dark for the first 20 minutes. I did notice when I started recording, I checked all my settings and they all look normal, and the brightness, it looked quite dark. Hopefully it should look a bit better now. Yeah, I'm not sure what that was about. Hopefully it looks a little bit brighter now. I always kind of struggle with that because my room is quite grey and it's quite empty and the walls and such, so I don't have like the best background. I don't know what I'd like to do. I can't like really move there's like a mirror on there. I don't really want a mirror behind me on the video. Can't have it that side because that's where the window is, and if I do it facing this way, it'll just be white wall behind me again, so I don't really have the best kind of backdrop my videos, which is a shame. I'd love to like put stuff up. I've got quite a lovely array of horror and like anime t-shirts and such, but I don't really know where I'd like put them or anything, so it's a bit of a shame. I do have some, can't really get at them in a minute. But I do have some nice little stickers and such from like a lot of the anime merch and such I've got. We should do it. Yeah, I had a feeling he would kind of go with this. Again, it's I'm not sure why he would, but it just like it made sense that he would to me. And again, it's the thing a man should do for his woman, but it kind of pisses me off even more. But Sir Griffith, the costs involved. Why not allocate a portion of the loot taken from the giants? Things have an order of priority. This guy is very brave. The budget. The budget must first be carefully allocated to cope with current problems. Coping is not enough. That is a slow path to ruin. It kind of is. Because imagine you've just got one massive problem that requires a shit ton of money, then 100 smaller problems. You're going to be working away at that massive problem, and the smaller problem is just going to keep piling up and still going to be there. You take care of like the smaller ones while allocating some of it to like a long-term plan for the big problem. That should work out better. Like take out like 20 a day of these smaller problems with the majority of your money while working away a little bit at the bigger problem. Makes a lot more sense, right? I think I can understand like this depression and such, and the lack of what these guys are talking about will create situations where there's orphans and such. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, who knows? I don't run countries. I don't care about. Well, I say I don't care about who runs countries. I don't really like vote or anything. Everyone's like, make sure you vote on Thursday and such. It's like, fuck off. I do what I want. I never voted in my life, and I never will. So I don't support any of these people. I mean, I care. I kind of care about how my country's run, but again, people say, "Oh, one vote, it means a lot." It doesn't mean nothing. People that say your vote doesn't mean anything are idiots. It's like, no. I mean, in general, one vote doesn't change anything. If it was just one vote, see who wins, then that would change something. But no, it's millions. Yeah, I don't want to get involved in shit like that. So berate me all you want about not voting. people that do that are usually very, very biased because they're pissed off that you didn't vote for their party. But yeah, again, I really couldn't give two shits about that kind of stuff. I find it interesting, don't get me wrong, but I never like go out of my way to support any of those people because there's always ulterior motives. That's what you got to think about with like politicians and such. No one goes and like people do go. Don't get me wrong. Maybe they do go in with the intention of like doing good for the planet or their country or whatever, but there's always personal bias and such in there. Like as a person, they want to be successful. As a person, they want to get in that role of power. They're not like fully unbiased. You can't have a fully unbiased human being, I don't think. As much as someone would want to be one. There's always going to be, again, those personal kind of motivations and factors, and like these, and that's just like that's the things you know. These people could like be like secret, as we're seeing a lot of revealed stuff. Like people could be like secret kind of horrible people, could have their own horrible intentions that are hidden behind that, and that's the stuff you can't account for. So even with the stuff you can account for, it's scary to support these people, but it's always going to be a thing. It's like it's nothing you can really do about it. Maybe if everyone didn't vote, maybe that would actually make a bigger change. To all those people that say you should vote, maybe you not voting, maybe everyone shouldn't vote. Yeah, okay, who cares? In order for us to survive, the only path forward is to prosper. Orphans alone aren't enough. The government should play a part in the education of all children until age 8. No, age 10. This would include cultivating a national sense of belonging, solidarity and morality, in addition to teaching, reading, writing and a range of other subjects. And things we kind of have to take for granted in our day and age, stuff like this. Go on, Charlotte. Let's go. But that sounds like utter nonsense. Okay, who are these guys think they're talking to? I don't even like Griffith, but who the fuck do these guys think they're talking to like this? That sounds like utter nonsense. I kind of wish this was the Griffith of just like around the eclipse, where he did have that kind of emotion, if you know what I'm saying. He did have that kind of. He might get pissed off at this. Well, definitely the Griffith of the old Man of the Hawk would feel a certain way about being spoken to like this, I think. It's the thing, like Griffith is that what I kind of describe, that kind of unbiased, impartial. Don't get me wrong, he's always got his dream and such, so there is that bias, but he's just about as like unbiased and uncaring emotionally as you could be, I think. So these guys might even get away with this. I'm not sure how Locust. Oh yeah, Locust is here, so and yeah, it won't be Griffith. Locust will be doing something about this. I can almost guarantee it. By the way, though they are but children. Their labour is indispensable to their parents. If it's only half the day, and we provide a daily meal, that should be a boon for the needy masses. But to educate the people, wouldn't that be dangerous? Oh God, that's something again that governments probably talk about to this day. Like, not like educate the people, but like in essence the same thing. Should we educate the people about aliens, for example? Don't get me wrong. I don't think I believe in aliens. There probably is some kind of, like, if you've got to imagine how we came to be, there probably is some kind of different life out there somewhere. I don't believe I've had any evidence of it yet. But how would I know about that? Because again, you get people like talk like this higher up, like, should we release this? Wouldn't that be dangerous? It's just a piss take. If commoners grow arrogant, we could very well descend into mob rule, and the cracks might form in the class system. Worst case, if we were to result in a massive uprising, troubles at home and abroad are a chronic national disease. If we're going to have that same illness, we should not just sit and buy and grow weak. We should advance towards glory, even if the path is painful. In 5 or 10 years, if we're to survive and achieve prosperity in this new world, our current standing army of both mercenaries and soldiers serving under the peerage will never suffice. We're certain to need the power of the citizenry, a large-scale army of the people. And to fund this vastly expensive endeavour, the people must prosper by any means available. Construction, engineering, agricultural improvement, logistics, anyone with the potential to excel should study diligently in order to support the government and help lead us to prosperity. So educating the children becomes a major strategy towards achieving that goal. The people's strength is the nation's strength. True. But funding. Funding it. We shouldn't we dip into the treasury for this, even if it means bending some rules? But if all we do is spend, it will bleed the government dry. We'll have to impose new taxes. And the economy is strained enough already. If we can recapture the northern silver and copper mines, we should be able to mint many coins. I have another suggestion which ties in with the earlier matter of the local public order deteriorating. If we continue to isolate the refugees in one district, discrimination and persecution are sure to become the norm. We should act before that happens. Okay, if you just read this chapter of Berserk, you'd be very forgiven to just think that Griffith is a good man, wouldn't you? You'd be forgiven for thinking that. You'd be wrong, but I'd forgive you for thinking that. If they seek relief from this kingdom, they must prove they are of greater benefit to it than its own citizens. We must instill in them the duty and afford them the opportunity to do so. Meaning, what exactly? Why not incorporate the refugees into the army? Well, you mean as we've done with the Kushan? We have seen positive results from absorbing the Kushan. We partake of the same food and expose ourselves to the same threats. Those experiences create strong bonds among people. I'm sure they will make excellent soldiers. But if we hire more troops, it will require still more funds. We will have them lay the foundation to generate those funds. In addition, it's kind of like planting plants. I think this is why this shot is here. It's kind of, like the way it is. It's like, yeah, it costs money to plant plants, but those plants will get you more money if they turn into some tomatoes. You can sell the tomatoes and make more money than you bought the seeds for. And then do that again and again and again. In addition to general military service, new recruits will be expected as combat engineers to build and maintain roads and to construct strongholds and forts in recaptured territory. With those bases and roads as cornerstones, we will build towns, cities, a transportation network, a cultural sphere for all humanity. As a means of national defence, too, we will build grand walls along the expanding royal border. Sorry, guys. How are we? As a means of national defence too, we will build grand walls along the expanding royal border, with a cordon formed by the scattered bases rather than one large, permanently stationed force. Using the roads to swiftly dispatch large-scale forces when the need arises should prove more efficient, and we can keep costs down during peacetime. Military service lasts 10 years. Those who serve their time can be granted citizenship for themselves and their families, or residence wherever they wish in the kingdom. Aren't these terms a good arrangement for labour and reward? I see, yes. In that case, So I don't want to fire too many shots here, but this chapter's already done what Sly and Data Ken does in half a season. I do this every time that I react to it on my channel. I like watching it on my own time. It's actually fine in my own time, but I watch it on my channel and it's just like waiting weekly just for meetings. Like a super slow paced, like super slow paced. It's just boring. There's no other way to describe it. people say it's good it's good world building. It was good world building originally, but the further it goes, you can't really say it's good. It's just long world building. It's not good world building. It's long world building. As I just said, this chapter right here managed to achieve almost a season's worth of what Slime Data Ken achieves. It's quite amazing. Don't get me wrong, I still like it, but that show is massively overrated by certain people. Oh, I'm in so much pain. I had football training for the first time in months a couple of days ago, and I've got to go again today. Well, I haven't got to go, but I'm going to go. Tuesdays and Thursdays, and my God, it was pure fitness. It was 2 minutes of running around a football pitch. You stop. There wouldn't be any breaks in between. I say you stop. You stop the run. You do your work on. We had periodically we'd have 2 minutes running, 2 minutes doing the workouts, 2 minutes running, 2 minutes workouts, 2 minutes go on and on for half an hour. So we'd have the essentially 15-16 minutes of running, and then 15-16 minutes of doing 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 burpees, 100 squats, 100 jumping jacks. I don't think it was jumping jacks. It was something else. Squats, push-ups, sit-ups, burpees, and lunges. That was the one. 100 of each, and then once you got to 500, you just had to keep going around as well. So me and my team, we had it was between two people. Like one person would run, one person would do the work. You get to 500 and you just go back around again. So it was, I was thinking, let's get this done quick, but no, just got to keep going anyway. And that fucking killed me. I haven't done anything for like 2 months, so proper out of shape. Oh, and I gotta go again today. Fucking hell. Other governments are currently at a standstill. Cities, towns, and villages everywhere are isolated and overrun by legendary beasts. Our Midland is probably the only functioning nation left on the continent. We're amidst a strange and menacing world that threatens to destroy us if we take one false step. And whose fault is that? But another way of looking at it is, one could say we've obtained a blank and boundless map. Yeah, that is true, isn't it? That is very true. You're just kind of like, say whose fault was that? It was probably part of the plan, the fact that taken out all of these places in one fell swoop, and you will be like, even though it is a depression and such at the minute, these guys will lead the kind of, they will be the only place in this in Midland, won't they? They'll be the only safe place, and that poses a huge issue. To survive, we will expand and invade. We cannot afford to hesitate to fill in that map. The fuck's that? Is that Geyserus? Is that Skull Knight? It is said that in ancient times the renowned Emperor Geyseruk formed a great empire across the entire continent with this land at the centre. Interesting that, isn't it? So he's funnily enough, it's Griffith following in Skull Knight's footsteps. Interesting. I love King Geyserus. I think he's so cool. There's a lot of this chapter left, actually, isn't there? I thought we were near the end. Is this the right chapter? It looked like we were near the end. I guess it's a slightly longer chapter than usual. Oh no, it's because of the it's because there's been a lot of dialogue. Formed a great empire across the entire continent with this land at its centre. So let us show that we can too establish humanity's realm, Second Empire. It does make you wonder then about Geyseruk, doesn't it? We really don't know much about him or Skull Knight, but I mean, the fact that Skull Knight's still alive to this day is not like evidence that perhaps he and Griffith had something in common. Perhaps he is a demon. Will we see Griffith end up like Skull Knight at some point? Fighting against one that done the same thing he did? I doubt it. But interesting. I'd love to get more Geyseric, you know. I say that, but I also like the fact that we don't have much. It's got that intrigue. Like, again, a lot of horror movies, a lot of classic horror movies, especially have this of like, they don't give you all the answers. They leave some things to the imagination, and a lot of the time that's more scary than seeing things. It's like prequels. I don't really like prequels because they answer questions that you don't want to know because it's scary not knowing. Again, I bring it up a few times. Perhaps the Alien franchise is a good example of that. A second empire, what a grand vision, while our kingdom faces an existential threat. Still, we can't just stand here. We must scrape together funds, no matter what. I will check in with some prominent firms. I will ask the Holy See for support. It's a silver lining that loans to the other countries were It's a silver lining that loans to the other countries were effectively nullified. So, okay. It's a silver line. I didn't understand this sentence for a minute. Again, this is all fucking political bullshit right here. It's a silver lining. I said bullshit. It's quite interesting, like I said, but I just it's bullshit in real life. It's a silver lining that loans to other countries were effectively nullified. Minister Foss. Oh. They used to do a little, but schemed to protect themselves at their own interests. Now they seem like whatever possessed them has gone. Well, in that context, I myself used to be their ringleader of sorts. Yes, sir. A vision. Sir? To lead a nation and its people, one must have a sublime vision. All of us are entranced by that man's dazzling vision. That's how it's been. That's how it is with Griffith. Oh, look at this little bird. Come here. What is that? Is that a falcon? You know, falcon's claws really are quite terrifying. I swiped some dried meat from the kitchen. Oh. The council's ended. Hey, Lord Griffith. Princess Charlotte. Yeah. Said to be cousins, Sonia and the Hawk. Highness, it's improper to run so you'll slip and fall. Back there, that is, I felt like I was intruding with my idea. No, it was a very worthwhile suggestion. If the kingdom can be a good parent to orphans, the orphans are sure to support the kingdom once they're independent. I mean, that sounds logistic, but like that's not how it ends up with orphans, is it? I'm not an orphan myself, obviously, and I don't know any orphans. I don't think, but from media I've seen it does, like an anime I've seen, it does feel like orphans. They've always got like I can't remember what, maybe it was actually a TV series, I can't remember, but orphans, they always have issues. Like everyone has issues, don't get me wrong, but because they didn't have parents, they're going to have a different set of issues than a normal person. And when I say normal person, I mean a person that had parents. I can't. Oh, it was actually no. I did hear this being spoken about by a man who adopted an orphan child, and again, they have a lot of different needs than, again, what a usual kid would perhaps. So I think again, it's logistic to think that, but that probably won't be the case actually for these orphan kids. That's like, oh, logistically, I do some tit for tat. I do something for you, give you good birth, give you good life. You become part of the army. But again, that's like, as an orphan, you got to kind of think that they're gonna think a different way, perhaps. I don't know what I'm trying to make there, but I think the point I'm trying to make is I did hear an interesting, again, I heard this was years ago, but I think it was during like a horror live stream, funny enough. Just had a very interesting introspective into a man that did adopt an orphan child and just how different his childhood was to his adopted child's. It was very interesting. All I want to take the flowers in the garden. I want to take the flowers in the garden gathered from all over the kingdom and plant them at the orphanage, so it can be a home sure to soothe the children after all their hardships. Again, that's the thing. Again, they've got different problems with the fact that they're never going to have parents. I mean, they had parents, and knowing that they gave them up, like, what does that do to you as a person? Like, you probably have a I'm not good enough kind of thought about yourself when you're like, oh, my parents dumped me as a kid. How worthless must I have been? Not even as a kid did anyone want me, and like stuff like that. Mother of the kingdom, indeed, like a mother looking after a home. Oh my! In that case, would that make his future royal majesty the father of the kingdom? Hey, stop that! Well, Griffith, do you have plans after this? As I scrolled up earlier, I have seen that she's lying in bed naked, so I might just skip over that. If you'd like, we could have tea together in my chambers. I would love to soothe your weariness from the latest campaign. There's nothing on the military schedule for this afternoon. Please, spend the time at your leisure. I could do with some soothing too. Quit it! I haven't spent time together in a while. Don't get in the way. Weren't you by Lord Griffith's side the entire campaign? Ah, hey, where to? I'm taking a long ride. Don't come with me. Yeah, as if. Oh man, guess I'm the only one who never gets a day off. I love this look, by the way. I love Sonia's expressions in general. Little side mouth, little slide eyes right there. She pissed off the bird. That won't be coming back. And as I said earlier, no one wants to see this. Sure enough, it's tonight then. What's tonight? What's this about? It's tonight then. Interesting. Okay, so we've still got another chapter, but I'll read some comments quickly before we move on. Interesting. It's tonight then. What's tonight, Mr. Griffith? Is this kind of... I'm thinking this does like kind of... I don't know. It seems familiar, this. I feel like something that happened during our time in Midland before. Again, maybe like the Foss situation. We didn't kill Foss or assassinate him or anything, but we kind of had to. Griffith kind of intimidated him, didn't he? Perhaps we can have another situation like that where Griffith has got some kind of inner work to do. Like I said earlier, maybe kill some of those politicians he was talking with earlier. Something along those lines, perhaps. I don't really know. Perhaps it's just something big he's got to sort out himself. I don't really know, but hopefully we'll find out next chapter. But as I said, let's read some comments quickly. yeah, I'd love to be back with Casca and Guts. I find this stuff quite interesting. Actually, this was definitely a lot more interesting than the last couple of chapters. And I'm interested about Griffith's land for sure, but again, I'm much more invested currently in Guts and Casca. Like after those few chapters back, like how can we be so nonchalant with not seeing what come after that? We need to know what happened. I mean, we got a little clue about what happened with them saying in the intro bit that Casca went into, it was like disgust or something, right? I wasn't sure what she was feeling during that, like when she saw Guts, but yeah. A lot of people not liking this chapter. Maybe that's why I didn't have many likes at all. These guys, as I said, probably would not very much like slime that again then. Griffer. Again, that sounds like a very Scottish or Irish name. Griffer. Ooh. Oh, not too much interest in the comments. It's mostly about how they didn't like the chapter, which is a shame. Again, I thought it was quite interesting. People talking about the shading. It does look like, just from a zoom back kind of perspective, it does look lighter, doesn't it? People complain about the artwork as well. The artwork looks just as good in my opinion. It looks fine. Shading definitely, there is a lot less darkness, but I think that makes sense in their Griffith segments. Well, that's just like a kind of stylistic thing. Okay, but let's get into the next one and the final chapter for today. Barrier. Where we are back here. Thank God. Nice. What? We're just gonna go right past? What? How? Casca's reaction to Guts? Is it still like those violent feelings from when she was Elaine that she had towards Guts that made her do that? I initially thought it was again like she got more of her kind of memories back with like got hit by that kind of shock of like the eclipse and such after seeing Guts, but I don't know. Snip snip, snippity snip, and a new haircut to celebrate a change in character. Classic Japanese right here. There, is that about right? Thank you, Your Majesty, for doing this personally. Don't you mind. I'm doing this because I enjoy it. It's fun to do a lady's hair this way. All lovely. It's a nice break from the usual housework too. And you may call me Danan. The dress suited you quite well, so it's a bit of a shame. It was a lovely dress. I prepared some forest sentinel clothes that are easy to move in, as you wished. And also, a sword. Now, what are you going to be needing a sword for, Casca, in this place? You know, I just like find this quite funny that fucking what's his name? Oh god, I'm blanking. Barney's and I'm terrible, aren't I? Serpico, there we go. I remember. Apologies. But do not find it just like quite funny that Serpico is reacting like this. His eyes are closed and he can't see her. Why has he got a face on his face whatsoever? that doesn't sound like it makes sense. Why has he got a face on his face? But why has he got any expression on his face whatsoever when he's not actually looking? Sure enough, this feels more right for me. Those plant boots, little plant top thing as well. There are plants here, don't they? Looking nice though, Casca. Looking nice. She definitely looks different from. Well, again, it's been a long time, but definitely looks different from. A little bit different from Elaine, of course. Not got that kind of dumb look on her face, but very much different from the old Casca, doesn't she? And she is a kind of new Casca in a way. She's a combo. She's a Casca, Elaine and Casca. Not so much Elaine, but like that was a period of her life that we got to account for. Ooh, this makes for a very different impression. Yeah. Still, you can't see her, bro. Like, what is this like? I ask a lot, but what is this kind of like Japanese kind of character trait that characters just don't open their eyes? What is that about? Yeah, they can always see. That's the thing in general. Even with like actually blind characters in anime, they're always usually able to see better than everyone else, which is quite funny. I feel like every anime I've seen like an old blind man in, they've always got like some kind of like supernatural ability to see everything, like the flow of the world's odd better than anyone else. What is it about that? Don't stare like that. It's embarrassing. Yeah, but it's a total change. You look like a lady pirate. Cool. The Casca we knew was like a bratty handful of a baby. I remember the days when to rescue you. Yeah, it's kind of weird a bit, isn't it? Because Isidro, he's like a kid himself, but for him, Casca was the baby of the group. So it must be quite weird, especially for Casca, going from like, I wouldn't say he wasn't looked after. She wasn't looked after by Isidro at all, really. Just looked after by Farnese and like Shirka, but he was there as a kind of older figure for her, wasn't he? So it's quite funny. I remember the days when to rescue you, I had to play tag with heretics in Farney's bunch. That was a long time ago, that was. Takes me back. Feels like the distant past now. By about 20 years, in fact. Sorry about all that. You two bastards. Oh, there's the... Wow, how long has it been since we've seen her? I forget her name now, but she's dead, surely, isn't she? Sheep girl. Yes, it's faint, but I remember. You really took good care of me back then. Isidro. Fuck. Cut it out. It's ancient history. Those girls who took me in at that holy ground. I wonder if they're still okay. Well, we know three or four of them are, don't we? We saw them not so long ago, but the sheep girl, whose name I forget, is unfortunately perished, hasn't she? There's no confirmation of that, but like, you just know she did. I said there's no confirmation. There was confirmation, but you never know in like anime and manga, do you? I'm kind of listening to a One Piece song right now, and it just takes me back to is it Alabasta? It's like, oh, you think a character finally died? Like, it's not like you're rooting for anyone to die in One Piece. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, oh, a character finally died, but no, right at the end of the arc, they bring him back, and he survives. So it's like, it's kind of bullshit. It's like, it's just an arse pull. It's like, really, you couldn't have one random background character die in your show still. And funny enough, I say this, I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys that haven't watched it and now maybe watching, but I've recently gone past a couple of big deaths in the series. I'm glad they finally had some balls to get rid of some big characters. It just makes you feel like there's no circumstances or anything if no one dies or anything like that, or no one leaves the story, doesn't it? So you can't do that, I don't think. I'd like to thank them if I ever see them again. No, I'm not sure how to apologise for that whole affair. No, it's not like that. If I hadn't reeled her in with my daredevil dive, Casca would have been burnt to a crisp. Refer to volume 21. So patronising. That's wild to see, Joe, and I have no idea. I'm not going to go back to volume 21. I'm especially grateful to you, Miss Farnese. Just Farnese is fine. Whenever I clung to you, I always felt a sense of relief. Again, I'm hoping these guys are like best friends. I was quite scared, like they might not get along. Their personalities might completely clash, you never know. I hope not. The way I did my mother and sisters when I was a child. I think during the journey you really were both a mother and an older sister to me. But how could I have been? I'm the one who's incapable of anything. Oh man. Farnese. Don't start tearing up. Oh god. Sorry guys. Ah, oh, Farnese. What a fucking job you've done. MVP, like, honestly, one of the MVPs of like the last however long since Casca's been like this. Awesome. How touching. Is it worth crying over? She's not used to the praise. You there, don't spoil this. I'm printing, huh? I was simply doing my part. It was practically Farnese who did all the... Oh, sorry. Thank you too, Miss Shirker. You saved me from so many crises. Crises. That's how you say that, right? Crises? You needn't call me Miss. Call her your ladyship. Oh, but that's... I was simply doing my part. It was practically Farnese who did all the looking after and taking good care of you. It was a lot of hard work, journeying while protecting an unworthy student and a big baby. So, you seriously were a sword fighter, huh, Casca? And a woman at that. How matter-of-factly of you that you found out that she is a woman. And a woman at that. Was there any need for that sentence? Is that not clear? So, how are your skills? Oh, do you know what? I'd like to see that. I think Casca would obviously win. Well, would Casca obviously win again? It's been a long time. Maybe my muscles have probably deteriorated quite a bit. That happened to me. I stopped playing football for, again, like I said, as a teenager, doing drugs, going out, drinking, partying, all sorts, and didn't play football or do any kind of real sport for a couple of years at least, like 2, 3, 4 years perhaps, any kind of like real kind of intense stuff. And when I came back, I was I still had the technique I always had, but in fact I was actually kind of more calmer when I played on the ball, for example, and I was better kind of mentally. I think I was always a little bit kind of nervous and shaky as a teenager, and before that as a child playing football. But mentally I was better, but like physically, like Jesus, I thought I could run a lot more than I did, and when I say a lot more, I thought I could run a hell of a lot more than I did when I got back. I was still smoking at that point. Like I only gave up smoking so I could, because of getting back into sport and realizing how shit I was when I came back. It's like, oh wow, I've really got like a tenth of the engine every other player around me has. It was quite a shock to the system, and then gave up smoking, and I've had a good time with it ever since. But like I said, my muscles deteriorated, muscle memory gets lost a little bit of certain techniques, which was a good thing for me actually, but that could be a massive negative, especially if you are like a master swordsman. So yeah, who knows actually. We'll see. I think they're pretty rusty. The sword feels a tad heavy. And as I was just talking about as well, I stopped playing football for 2 months, and I felt quite a bit rusty, not just in terms of fitness, but in terms of actually playing football. A couple of days ago I felt quite rusty. My touch wasn't quite right. Then I have just the right training partners stored away. Come on out. So we've got some hollow knights of sorts here. Empty armors. Pretty damn cool looking armors of that. Very Nordic, actually, aren't they? Very Nordic. I think Nordic's the right word. Very Scandinavian. These are armor and weapons I swiped from visitors to the island long ago. That makes sense. What were they called? Ah, yes, Vikings. I magicked them into golems. I heard of them. They're pirates. That armor looks old. Is it antique? Vikings got no style. Really? You're saying that? They've got no style? That looks cool as hell. Look at that axe, for fuck's sake. That axe looks badass. It does look a bit goofy, but it looks pretty badass. What the fuck? That reminds me of, I've just completed Silent Hill 3. Well, I say I just completed. I've completed it about 5 times now. I think last time I was with you guys, I was playing Silent Hill 2. Finished that about 5 times. I played each about 5 times now. And I struggle to say which one's my favourite one. I think 2 is my favourite because the story is one of the best stories I've ever played in any video game. Probably the best story I've played in any video game. Silent Hill 2. Especially, I've had all the endings, like, except for I've got all the achievements in Silent Hill 2 and 3, except for about 5 or 6 in Silent Hill 2, which I'm just not going to achieve. Like the green spray one, but I'm not going to do. I don't really have the time to do less than 2 saves because you really need to do that in like over a long period of time. So I just can't really be bothered to do that one. But I haven't got the Maria ending. That's the only ending I've seen on YouTube, but that's the only ending I haven't got in the game. But Silent Hill 2 with the ending in water was just phenomenal. I think it took a little bit of effort to get that ending, but the story, the best story I've played in a video game. Unfortunately, I did play it, as you can probably tell, on the HD collection, which got a fair few issues. I've seen the originals on YouTube, and the fog especially. It wasn't a bigger problem for me, just because I didn't see comparisons before. I just thought, yeah, it kind of looked like this because it's a fucking 20-year-old game, but the fog looks a hell of a lot worse. But it's not that big of an issue. Some of the sounds are quite a bit worse, and little things here and there. But overall, I think both Silent Hill 2 and 3 were great experiences. And I think I prefer Silent Hill 2 because the story's fantastic, but Silent Hill 3 really came close. I never played Silent Hill 1, and I probably won't play Silent Hill 1, but I did. I've seen playthroughs, and I've had synopsises of Silent Hill 1, and I think Silent Hill 3 is a brilliant sequel to that. And again, I didn't think it would come anywhere close to Silent Hill 2, but it actually was. It competes for it in quite a few places. Music, I think Silent Hill 2's music is fantastic, but I actually prefer Silent Hill 3's. I love the mole theme. I love what's her name, Alyssa, well, who we know as Alyssa, Heather's theme. I think that brilliant as well, and the intro soundtrack. A lot of the soundtrack in 3's amazing. I think a lot of the settings in 3's actually quite a bit better as well. It's got a lot more disturbing settings in my opinion, visual wise, and I think I prefer playing as James, but I think Heather is a brilliant character as well. So again, I kind of struggle which one I prefer, but I think it is 2 at the minute. But both 2 of the best horror games I've ever played. If you look up reviews and such for the Silent Hill HD collection, because it's like one of the only ways you can play Silent Hill on Xbox, I think. People will tell you not to bother with them, but I'm very glad I picked it up because these have been 2 of the best horror games I've ever played in my life. 2 of the best games in general I've played. Even with the old tank controls, I'm quite fond of them because obviously grew up playing a lot of Resident Evil. These are armor and weapons. Let's get back to it. Enough talking about it. I've been a big Silent Hill fanboy, as I said. I finished each of them like 5 or 6 times over the last week or so. So yeah, playing a lot. These are armor and weapons I swiped from visitors to the island long ago. What were they called? Ah, yes, Vikings. I magicked them into golems. And I read all that. Thank you for everything, your Lady Danan. Their insides are filled with straw so you can cut or stab them. Their weapons have been enchanted not to injure or kill. Then I'll take you up on your offer, on your kind offer. Good luck. That's pretty handy. I mean, not to kill you, you'd hope that would be the case anyway, but to not injure you, that's actually really helpful because you can just like keep going and going and going. Then I'll take you up on your kind offer. Good luck. That doesn't really make sense. And don't hold back would be a bit more accurate, I think. And don't hold back. Casca action, first time in it in centuries. Let's go. And she's probably going to notice. She's probably a little weaker than she was. She's probably a little bit less fueled. She's got a little bit less endurance as she had before. But I think, like I said about my technique was always still there when I returned to football. I think the technique she has will remain. Hard. I said about muscle memory earlier. It's kind of hard for your body to forget a lot of actions you do a lot, even if it's been years since you've done them. Go on, Casca. My, she's good. She was a brilliant warrior. Now she's just showing off. One left. I think we need some stronger fucking opponents already, Miss Danan. How skilled? What? You mean she's that strong? Oh wow. She's the real thing. Her skills are better than mine. Huh. She's used to fighting armoured opponents. Intense. Bad, Casca. That blew me away. You were great. I'm surprised too, honestly. Old habits must die hard. My body reacted automatically. That's what I said about those muscle memories. Also, I think the fact that, again, about my kind of fitness, I've always been more of an explosive. I've always had more kind of fast twitch fibers. Always like again the fastest. I was always one of the fastest people at my school and on the football pitch. So I very much have muscles and such catered for more explosive movements like acceleration and sprinting rather than long distance running. That kind of fucks me over a little bit. Although again, that's good in circumstances. That's the thing as well. I came back to play football. My speed was still good, even though I hadn't run for a while. But again, my endurance was terrible. Hey, be my training partner. Guts is strong, but he's so huge it makes it hard to picture an opponent with a normal sized body. It'd be no problem with you. Good it is to learn from the other styles sometimes. That's fine by me. Thanks, big sis Cass. Casca, learn to bow your head. Have you, Padawan? Yeah, but with wooden swords because my accuracy is down. I guess it's my fate to be big sis. Go for it. Let's do this. Come, let us go to our training as well. Yes, let's. So mangy here. Serbico, stay and assist Casca with her training. She's fully in a mage mindset. She is a full-fledged mage now. I think after that expedition in Casca's mind, I think that certifies her as a magician for me. Or a witch. Are you sure you won't speak to her? Not yet. If she's doing well with the rest of you, do for now. Again, what happened after they came in contact? Did Casca just like Guts just go around this tree and hide and just like not see her, I guess? Shame, isn't it? I mean, it's great we got Casca back, but it's shame. From here, the problem is her own. Will she face him, or will she wait for time and affinity to heal her? No matter how deep the wounds, Casca can now at least decide for herself. So I'm almost a bit scared, the fact that she said, like, will time heal her? I almost feel like if that is the option, she won't have much time. I feel like, imagine Casca gets killed after all this. It's not unrealistic at all that she would be killed with all the monsters and myths and Griffith and co kind of roaming around. It's not out of the question whatsoever. That would be a piss take. But it's not out of the question. And she has both of you to thank. Hey, you know. Yes, but I'll go and tell her after all. Arnie's. I wonder if she burdened herself unnecessarily in the corridor of dreams, aiding the enemy. I was the one. It was me who put your heart in when you were afraid. I said I was sure you'd see him as I watched you go. However, Guts? Just stay there and listen. Then again, what to talk about? You've got good companions, of course. I'm already aware of that. Okay, fine. You be my opponent. The things during our journey, it was like I was dreaming I was someone else. It's hazy. Isidro has really taken to you. Wow. It's hard to believe you took on an apprentice. It never seemed possible back in those days. The way he's contrary is a lot like you. Although his teacher was a little less approachable. His smooth two-sword style, yes. It reminds me of Jidao. Oh, I recognise this bastard. Oh boy. Rest in peace, Jidao. Jesus. So, what's going on here then? Because last time we saw Casca, she saw Guts and something similar to this happened. Now she speaks about it again and it happens again. Please don't tell me it's going to be the same thing of go focus on Griffith again, then come back and then things will be like nothing happened. And then she goes to see Guts again, and I don't think it will be like that, but like at some point we've got to deal with this, right? Either in a positive or negative way. This has got to be dealt with. Great shot though. That classic kind of anime shot right here. Ugh. Cass. Just doesn't bode well, does it? Like, why is Guts envisioned with all this stuff surrounding him? I mean, it was literally surrounding him during that time, but it's not like he was a part of it. It looks like he's more of a part of it than being kind of oppressed by it, which is what he was in Eclipse. It's weird. Is it like the same feeling? I know it's slightly different, but a similar feeling. It's very different actually, but a similar feeling from like she had the Eclipse to the feeling she had with Elaine when Guts kind of went a bit crazy. Don't know. Ah. So yeah, she again looks at Guts in terror. Look at his reaction. Ah. Oh god. Look at his reaction, man. That makes you feel terrible. Kind of makes me want to cry a little bit. Seeing Guts like this, just the raw, intense look on the anguish on his face of looking into her eyes like that. Probably reminds him of honestly, this is almost a bit like roles reversed here. Actually, this is like reminds me of the look Guts gave when Casca was getting R-worded by Femto. It kind of reminds me of the look in Guts' eye when he saw that she now has to him, which is probably making him feel like that right there, like fucking hell. That's essentially what that is, isn't it? When I do look at it, that is like, yeah, very similar actually. Jesus. However, they still can't see one another. Damn, it's kind of sad to be honest, because I feel like as a man and just as a human being, perhaps the feeling Guts might have here would be to just leave her, to just leave all of this, because this is kind of a good future for Casca with all these great companions and everyone, isn't it? She's like, and without Guts being there should be no kind of recollection of what happened, unless she somehow kind of meets Femto and such. That would be disastrous, which would probably happen if that did happen. But again, as a man, like the best thing to do here sometimes is just to leave, and that would sort out a lot of questions. I don't want that to happen, but that might be the answer that Guts finds. Oh shit. Look who it is. He did say this. Maybe that might not be her wish. The Skull Knight just lurking about. You not got better things to do, bro. Or has he got something important to say, perhaps? Either way, you guys know I love a bit of Skull Knights. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. We had a little bit of Skull Knight today, didn't we? We had Skull Knight and King Geyserix, so pretty cool. Let's see what we got in the comment section here. Great second chapter here. Love this. Love this a lot. But yeah, the situation again, it's much better than it was, but it still kind of sucks, doesn't it? The fact that they can't actually kind of interact with each other. But again, we could at least take kind of solidarity in the fact that she is back to herself. Yeah, so let's get into the comments. What did Guts do to deserve this? He was born. He was born in this world like everyone else. Well, not like everyone else really. If we remember how he was born. You guys know what I mean. He was born to struggle. He was a born struggler, unfortunately. And he had a brief bit of happiness, I think. I think just that kind of relief that things could be okay while he was here. Elfhelm was like close to happiness, wasn't it? I love how no one noticed Skull Knight's here as well. Like there was all these kind of radars and such for Guts and Ko's arrival, but Skull Knight just waltzes on through. It's not fair. Yeah, don't we all? Don't we all? That's the thing I said earlier. I felt like crying. Like, imagine what Guts must be feeling like. Fucking hell. Oh boy, just a bunch of sad people in the comments. Not too much else here. But yeah, I agree with that. Guts' expression there was very well drawn. Very much drew a reaction out of me. That's the audience. I mean, this isn't wrong. We did see. It's hard because Kafka watching too much fucking almost got a well trigger there. Watching too much Kaijin and Break. Casca, we did see her suffer today, of course, but it was more that she was suffering by going through things she already suffered, like again PTSD. Whereas Guts is almost like it's like getting his heart broken a bit. I mean, it must feel similar for her. Don't get me wrong, but like, yeah, it's just different. It's just like Casca. You feel for Casca, but it's just like yeah. As everyone in the comment section is saying, it's just like for Guts, it's just like yeah, it's just a bit more kind of brings out here. I want to see Griffith suffer. Does she have a risk of dying? I think the scary thing here is that it risks her going fucking. I don't think that this will happen, but it potentially could risk her going back to Elaine, and that would be fucking horrible. I mean, we're kind of already here if that does happen, so we can perhaps do that ceremony thing again. But would it work a second time? I don't know. I kind of think it wouldn't. I'm scared of, honestly. Maybe I'd rather her die than go back to that, which sounds terrible, I know, but it's kind of like, especially if she had to go back to that forever, I think maybe she would, and I maybe would rather she died, like, and remember her as Casca rather than Pain. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't come down to that. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? A lot of characters have actually come back into the story over this whole ever since what's it called? Falconia. Ever since Falconia got kind of recovered by Griffith, a lot of characters have come back into the story, haven't they? A hell of a lot of characters. Good to see. And even if they haven't come back in the story, we're seeing a lot more of like the original Band of the Hawk and such, aren't we? Yeah, as I said, that like just seeing that much emotion out of Guts, because we hardly ever see much of any. Don't get me wrong, it's there, but seeing him that pained is just like I said about Casca, it's just you really feel something when you see this scene here of like her looking like that. Then have you ever really seen an expression like this, like emotionally, like not like a pained expression, like not to express kind of physical pain, but like emotionally, have you ever seen like this from Guts? I'm not sure we have. It's crazy. Crazy, man. Yeah, doesn't be too much interest else in the comments. So thank you guys very much for watching. Again, let me know what you guys thought of these chapters down in the comment section, especially the second one. Again, the first one was interesting with the whole kind of again world building of Falconia and such, but Jesus. not gonna bother reading that one. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of these chapters. Comments, leave a like on the video if you guys would like, and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up to date. I'll be back next week with chapters 360 and 361, and that will start with the Cherry Orchid. So I'll see you guys then, and have a good rest of your day, guys.